expect a New York Supreme Court judge to rule on whether former President Donald Trump and his two oldest children must testify for an investigation into the Trump Organization. Let's bring in CNN Senior Legal Affairs Correspondent Paula Reed. Paula, how did the arguments unfold and when can we expect a ruling?
Well, Anna, this was a virtual hearing that I attended. It went on for about 2 hours, and it was pretty contentious as attorneys for the former president, his son Donald Trump Jr., and daughter Ivanka attacked the New York Attorney General's investigation as being politically motivated. But I'll note, the judge did not seem particularly swayed by these arguments about political bias. Now, the New York Attorney General wants to sit these three down, do civil depositions to gather information for a civil investigation into whether the Trump Organization misled about the value of its assets to obtain more favorable terms for insurance, for loans, and of course to pay lower taxes. Now, the Trump Organization also faces a similar investigation by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and that is a criminal investigation. And while the New York Attorney General's office argues that it's not uncommon to face a civil and a criminal investigation, lawyers for the former president argue that this attempt to get him to sit down to answer questions for a civil deposition is an attempt to work around laws in New York that grant immunity to people who sit down in front of criminal grand juries. They're worried that anything he says in a civil deposition could potentially be used against him in a criminal case. But the judge pointed out the fact that if the former president or his children had concerns about any questions, they could always invoke their Fifth Amendment right. In fact, Eric Trump did that hundreds of times. Lawyers for the former president and his family, they argue that this case is unique because he's a former president. If he invokes the Fifth Amendment, that would make headlines around the world. Again, though, the judge did not seem terribly sympathetic to these arguments, but Anna, we'll find out exactly what he thinks because he said he will make a decision by 3 p.m. this afternoon.
Okay, that's just an hour away. Thank you so much, Paula Reed. That does it for us today.